NBC Sports reporter Michele Tafoya, she has now left her 30-year career in sports journalism. After the Rams won the Super Bowl, she pointed out specifically, but she is now doing her appearances now on Tucker Carlson, saying things like this.
Michele Tafoya retiring from sportscasting. Michele, we love you. You have been so much fun, and we'll hear a lot more from her. You and I don't know what the future holds, pal.
Chapter, what an interesting decision that you made. Why did you make it?
It's been on my mind for quite a while, Tucker. Thank you for having me. And no, NBC did not encourage this. They did not force this. This has been on my mind. I've been waking up every day with a palpable pull at my gut that my side, my view, my middle ground, kind of moderate viewpoint is not being represented to the rest of the world, I didn't feel. And I feel like for the sake of my kids and because I so love this country, I've got to start giving back.
I think all that sounds lovely. She felt that her voice, her moderate, middle of the road voice is not being heard and she doesn't feel fulfilled. I love it. And she wants to get into politics, that's fine. I think that's a stressful thing to do, but she is getting into it. Let's look some of the background of what she is deciding to do. So after working the sidelines of Sunday night Super Bowl, Tafoya told The Athletic that she had wrapped up her career as a full-time sports reporter and that she would immediately co-chair Republican businessman Kendall Qualls' campaign to become Minnesota's governor. Okay, she's working for a Republican, that's fine, it's great. It's where her stances are. Tafoya isn't going to stop there though. She also slated to appear on this month's Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, in Florida, and said that she will also make the rounds as a pundit. Already this week, Tafoya is scheduled to appear on former Fox News anchor Megyn Kelly's podcast and Fox News late night show hosted by Greg Gutfeld. Again, she's Republican, great, everybody gets to do what they want. Tafoya further said that she wants to steer away from sports reporting because she feels that she was not as free to be as vocal about world events that she's concerned about. It's not because I was told to shut up, she said. I want to be very clear about that. But look, if you're on a show like Sunday Night Football, which is the #1 show in primetime for 11 straight years, unprecedented, the last thing they want to do is invite controversy. So apparently she was boiling up and she's like, I know I can't say it here because we talk sports here, we analyze football games. Why would I bring up anything else like this? Let's watch.
My kids in school, there is a big focus on the color of your skin.
How old are your children?
My children are now 16 and 13. Okay,
in what way?
It's been going on since they were in lower school, all right? And it is that there are affinity groups on campus for, my son's first best friend was a little African-American boy. They were inseparable. Get to a certain age, they start having what's called an affinity group, which means you go for lunch and pizza with people who look like you. Suddenly, my son wasn't hanging out with him anymore. Why are we even teaching that the color of the skin matters? Because to me, what matters is your character and your values.
Yes, but you know, you live in the United States. You know that color of skin has been mattering to people.
Can't we change it that it doesn't?
We need white people to step up and do that.
But I think that they've been doing that since the Civil War, and I'm not saying it's perfect.
No, they haven't.
Wow, that was such a moderate thing to say, such a sensible thing to say, and yet it seemed like such a controversial thing. I thought that was really brave that you said that.
We're so looking in the rearview mirror and not absorbing the progress that we've made in this country and building on it.
Okay, there's a lot there from that View appearance when she said that, you know, all this teaching and talking about race is a problem. This is where it continues to become a problem. Everyone is talking about race. Kids are talking to your kid about race. When they look at them and say, what's that with your hair? Why does it do that? Hey, does that come off? I got that as a kid. My hands was rubbed. Does that come off? My mother got that. Does that come off? That's not saying, oh yeah, hey N-word, what's up with you? That's discussing race because people don't understand other folks. And they need to be exposed to those other folks are, and they need to learn why some of those folks have been put in certain positions or have been downgraded or have been degraded throughout our society. Now, if Michele Tafoya wants us to stop talking about race, as Whoopi Goldberg told her in that appearance, you might want to talk to your folks about, let's start talking about advancing from race. Because she said, let's build on that and continue to do better. What are we doing that's better? We just saw Ahmaud Arbery get murdered by these 3 guys, and they still don't say that it was their fault. We see this police brutality that happens every day to kids. So what do you think that 13-year-old girl that was riding that pocket bike that we talked about earlier thinks about cops? What do we know that cops think about them? A couple of days ago, we talked about how these firefighters were demeaning this murdered black child because of her name, and how these folks shouldn't exist, and how the next counties over black fire department sucks. We're not always talking about race. They are always talking about race. But when we point it out, it's, why are you guys always talking about race? It's everywhere. Until you find a way to actually accept everyone and not have these different hierarchies throughout our society, then maybe we won't have to keep talking about it. Now, if your kid is getting separated in schools, I don't know if that's a particular thing that happened with your black versus white groups. That's a different problem you're gonna have to discuss. But when you try to take that as a national problem, talk to your kid about issues with race in school. My kid had issues with race in school. I'm not saying it's happening in every school across the country. It happened in his. I don't know, maybe she'll figure it out. But you think her being around so many different people and actually having access to different reporters and different people and different sports figures, she would have learned a little bit more than that. Or maybe just in her time on this earth that she knows what's right and what's wrong. You don't see in front of your face the oppression that happens. We've taken care of that since the Civil War, she said. Since the Civil War, we've been doing so much better. Okay. Tell that to the black folks that Dylan Roof murdered years ago, and he got cheeseburgers on his way to the police car. I mean, I could come up with a list. Maybe I can bring it tomorrow. But the things that we keep not talking about when it comes to race, as they're banning books that talk about it, that talk about equality. Are you against equality? That's not a moderate position, and it's not very brave to say that, like Tucker Carlson told you. Sorry we didn't get to sloths. I really wanted to get to sloths. Maybe tomorrow. Up next is John with the damage report. That does it for me here. I feel like I've been yelling and angry all morning. I'm gonna go have a coffee. But until tomorrow on the watch list, I will still be here again on a Friday to wrap up week 4. And until then, I'll still be watching.